We're looking at the fuel crisis situation, the petrol subsidy debate, and to help us discuss this is Austin Weze, an economist. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. Yeah. So, did you have fuel during the Christmas period?
It was a sad situation, and I didn't expect that the government will allow Nigerians to suffer the way they did.
I'm not sure they also wanted to allow Nigerians to suffer.
Well, I hope so, because at 350 in my village, 300, even politicians that have gas stations, they were selling at the market, market rate.
Even the politicians?
Yes.
We're selling at 300?
Yes. I was expecting that, look, since you guys are in government, I mean, why don't you, when others are selling higher prices...
So that their businesses will shut down. Okay, Dr. Weze, this matter, in the course of that supply gap, we heard the GMD of NNPC talk about the landing cost of petrol in the country. He says 171 naira, and they sold at 145 naira. Now, we had one of the general managers on our program here, and we asked him, what's the difference? And he called it under something. I'm not sure what I can't remember the phrase he used again. But it means that portion, that difference is being handled by the NNPC or the government.
That's what you call the subsidy.
Oh, that's the subsidy.
Yes.
So let's get back to the subsidy debate. Are we still talking about subsidy when we thought that had been taken care of?
I think it was political rhetoric that this present administration, when they were campaigning to take over power from the PDP, they used to have a reason why Nigerians should give them a chance to to come into government, to take over government. But I remember in I think it was 2007 or 2008, during the late Tomaro Yar'Adua's regime, I looked at the political economy of high oil prices, and it's just a paper I was working on, and I had to travel to NNPC to get some interviews done, to investigate actually where the subsidy lies and all that. And my research showed that there's a long chain of middlemen in that NNPC deal, and as at that time, the people working there didn't even know who was getting what. The legal department would just prepare the documents, leave the name blank, and then send it to the presidency, and they fill in the name of the person they wanted to give the contract to. And my take on that is, that's where one is it right that those working in the organization may not know who gets what? Two, why the long chain of middlemen? Now, let's take for instance, if they're importing fuel, maybe at the international market price of 50 naira, for example, by the time it lands here, now, if I give you a contract, I'm an NNPC, I give you a contract, there are other people who are getting 1 naira, 2 naira in the chain. So that's where the thing, lies, because all those people will be sorted out. The person that connected, the person that connected, the person that connected, the person that made you to get the contract to supply fuel, there's 1 naira, 3 naira, 4 naira,
But in this case where it's the NNPC that's importing the petroleum products into the country, they're the ones bringing it in. So who are they?
No, but they still have a long chain of middlemen. Some interests are being, taken care of. And since the days of Adam Oshimole as a labor leader, no labor leader has been able to find out the actual landing costs. I remember those days when Adam Oshimole was a labor leader. He had his facts that to refine oil and all that will not cost more than 4 naira as at that time. But the labor leaders today, they don't have, they just sit there. They don't do anything. Except if workers are sacked before they now come into protest and all that. But that shouldn't be so. They should, they're activists. They're crusaders. They should also, when government policy is not to, because workers will also suffer it. So that's the point. Now, if we talk about liberalization and deregulation of the oil sector, the downstream sector, you'll find that in that paper I did, I said, look, for oil to attract, for that sector, oil and gas to attract investment, that we might at one point sell a liter of petrol for about 200, between 150 and 200 naira. That was as far back as 2008. Today, what are we buying? We're even buying more than that. So if we're really, truly trying to liberalize, and I said in that research that, look, in the short term, yes, it might get up to 200 naira. But in the longer term, then it will come down to as low as even 30 or 40 naira. Because what competition does, yes, what competition does, if you truly liberalize and deregulate the sector.
But are we ready for such? Are we ready to deregulate that sector?
We tried. But what we have today is controlled
deregulation.
Deregulation.
Is it really? Hold on. Is there any form of deregulation? Because hold on, it's the government that's importing the fuel.
Yeah.
And the marketers, if you heard the Minister of State for Trade talk about the marketers who had withdrawn from importing, because I mean the exchange rate is up there and they can't handle that.
Yeah.
So how do you expect them to be able to bring it in and they sell at 145 and be able to recoup their money?
No, you see, because it's not possible for them to do that. And when you truly liberalize that sector, anybody can bring any fuel. Different stations might be selling different rates, based on how much they purchased. Now, again, if the way this oil is refined, I remember in Singapore, they told me, and when I visited, that they asked me a question. Do you know whether, they asked me, do you know why Nigerian oil is being refined? They prefer Singapore as the best destination to refine oil. I said no. He said because when they bring 10 million barrels of oil, they will refine it, they will get back 10 million. But if you go to other places to refine, you may get 40% less or 30% less. That means that's why they refine their oil in that place and then send back here. Why don't we make refineries or set up new refineries? I'm not in support of this turnaround maintenance in the existing refineries. First of all, it's old technology. The cost of maintaining, this turnaround maintenance is enough to build a new refinery. One, because it's old technology, it can only refine about 80,000 liters of petrol. But the new technology is about 500 or even more. So we need to sometimes take a decision, abandon this old one, and then build a new refinery that will meet the times that we are in.
Dr. Nweze, when you say we need to take a decision, many people will argue with you that that's why we have so many empty buildings in the country spread around, where we just take a decision and we move and we go to a new place. Yeah. And what happens to that? Or no plan for that old place. But hold on here. I talked about the marketers earlier and what it will cost them to go importing these products if they need to, because someone has said it that the NNPC alone cannot handle the importation of petroleum products, at least for now that we're still importing. They can't handle it alone. The marketers are said to get the foreign exchange at about 305 naira to $1.
Yeah.
Is there a mechanism to check if they actually go to get the product? And first of all, is that even good enough?
Well, it's not good enough. One is that when the exchange rate wahala started, I said, well, it's going to go around, even government imports. Because how many things we produce here? We don't refine here. We go to open market to buy even NNPC. Even if they fix their own rates, they're supposed to have a special rate where they buy their own from CBN to import such a product that is very, very key to national economy. And they don't have, they have flexible rate for others, those going on pilgrimage and all that. Is it fuel that's important to the economy? that they might not have. I'm not supporting having flexible rate. I believe that we should have one rate for everyone.
Dr. Nweze, what's next? What's the way forward? Subsidy, no subsidy, what's the way forward?
Well, it was a mistake. Well, I know that the intention was to check corruption that is in the system, and it's still there because NNPC is a mess of a place. You know, that's where people use for political, to set out political IOUs and all that. And what we need to do, and another unfortunate thing that is happening is that the government is also depending on Dangote's refinery to sort out their problems, which is also a dangerous thing to be thinking, you know, that, oh, once Dangote's refinery comes on stream, our problem is solved. Who told you?
But they talked about several modular refineries that are coming in sometime this year,
you know,
that are not Dangote's.
Yeah,
you know about those ones?
They should be able to have more of Dangote's refineries all over the place. Other Dangote, not Aliko alone. Other modular refineries going on. And even then, the ones they call illegal refineries, it was a huge mistake to really destroy those because it caused more environmental hazards. What they could have done was check out monitor it, check out the quality of the product, see how they can help them enhance this thing. Because this product don't reach to the hinterlands. And, you know, and this was meeting some needs. So why don't you regularize or legitimize that sector, those people that call illegal this thing? And that's one. We need new refineries. We need time. You know, sometimes our policymakers are short-term thinkers. They need to be strategic in our thinking so that we look at, say, look, in the next 5 years, where do you want to be? Right. And not stop pretending about all of this. We need more refineries, but in the interim, we need also have the products. But again, we need to live with it until we have our own refineries.
Thank you very much, Dr. Austin Nweze, an economist, talking about the petroleum subsidy debate. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
And that's it on Sunrise Daily for today. Thank you for letting us be a part of your morning. Have yourself a beautiful rest of the day. I'm Neo Taigwe. Bye-bye.